Imagine a perfectly formed, affluent European town, complete with a ballroom, a casino, a hospital, and luxurious villas, located deep in the unforgiving, desolate expanse of the Namib Desert. This was Kolmanskop, a diamond mining settlement established in German Southwest Africa in the early 20th century. It was a brief, dazzling architectural anomaly, a pocket of opulent German Art Nouveau and Wilhelmine grandeur built directly on top of unimaginable mineral wealth. But this oasis of European civilization was built in direct defiance of its harsh environment. Its eventual fate was not destruction by fire or political proscription, but a slow, silent, and poetic process of architectural rewilding, as the desert claimed its territory back, leaving us with houses where sand dunes now occupy the living rooms. Kolmanskop is one of the most visually stunning examples of vanished grandeur. The town was abandoned in a rush, leaving behind intact architectural structures that now serve as a chilling time capsule. Unlike many abandoned sites that were looted or destroyed, Kolmanskop was gradually, gracefully filled by the pervasive sand of the Namib. The desert acts as a slow, inexorable architectural censor, pouring fine grains through broken windows and doors, filling corridors and stairwells, transforming human habitation into geological art. This episode explores the architectural hubris of building an affluent European town in such an extreme environment, and the profound, silent power of nature to impose its own long-term prohibition on human settlement. Welcome back to Vanished Grandeur, where we investigate architectural masterpieces that were lost, often through conflict, but sometimes through the simple, unstoppable forces of economics and nature. Kolmanskop was founded in 1908 after a railway worker discovered a diamond. Within years, the town exploded into existence, becoming a small German colony, complete with schools, power stations, and even an ice-making plant to combat the extreme heat. The architectural style was strictly European, utilizing imported materials and elaborate detailing to create an illusion of home. The construction was a logistical miracle, bringing fresh water and building supplies hundreds of miles across the barren landscape. The entire town was an architectural defiance, a bubble of civilization forbidden by its environment, existing only because of the concentrated wealth beneath its surface. The challenges faced by the architects and builders in Kolmanskop were immense. The town lies in the Sperrgebiet, Forbidden Zone, a diamond-rich area characterized by extreme temperatures, constant strong winds, and the relentless migration of sand dunes. The building materials, primarily prefabricated wooden elements and imported brick, were designed to resist the heat, featuring wide verandas and thick walls, but were fundamentally unprepared for the relentless, abrasive action of the sand. The entire town was a short-term architectural experiment, a spectacular display of colonial engineering that was mathematically doomed once the diamond supply, which justified the enormous maintenance costs, ran dry. Kolmanskop was built to attract and retain European miners and their families, offering a standard of living that rivaled Berlin or Hamburg. The architecture reflected this aspiration: large family houses with pressed steel ceilings, polished wooden floors, and elegant stained glass windows. The town featured a spectacular ballroom, complete with elaborate wall paintings, a bowling alley, and a concert hall that hosted traveling European orchestras. This deliberate architectural extravagance served as a physical rejection of the African environment, creating a hyper-European space. The infrastructure included a fully equipped hospital, the first in the Southern Hemisphere to have an X-ray machine, used primarily to check miners for internal diamond theft, showcasing the architectural priority placed on extracting wealth. The sheer logistics of the town's existence constituted an architectural feat. Everything, from every pane of glass and piece of wood to every drop of fresh water, had to be imported via boat and train. This infrastructure was expensive and complex. Architects had to design buildings that could be constructed rapidly using standardized, imported components while also withstanding the unique structural challenges posed by the shifting sands.
The town's longevity was entirely dependent on maintaining an incredibly complex supply chain, a fragile piece of logistical architecture that would be the first to collapse when the economic reason for its existence disappeared.
Kolmanskop enjoyed its peak architectural and economic glory in the 1910s. The diamond fields were so rich that stones could literally be picked up off the ground by moonlight. The architecture of the town flourished, representing a brief, exhilarating moment of unrestrained colonial wealth. The town's brief life cycle was dictated by geology and economics, not by warfare or politics. This intense, short-lived period of affluence resulted in a uniquely preserved architectural style, a slice of European prosperity suddenly and dramatically transposed onto the African desert. The decline of Kolmanskop began shortly after World War I, when the price of diamonds dropped and more fertile diamond fields were discovered further south near Oranjemund. The massive costs required to maintain the town's imported lifestyle, fighting the sand, pumping water, and controlling the climate, were no longer economically viable. The decision to abandon the town was an economic proscription. The architecture was simply too expensive to sustain without the easy wealth. The town did not burn down or collapse immediately. It was systematically evacuated, starting in the early 1930s, leaving its buildings structurally intact but functionally abandoned. The final abandonment occurred around 1956. Once the human presence and maintenance ceased, the environment's long-term prohibition took over. The fierce southwest wind began its patient, ceaseless work. The sand, no longer cleared by miners, built up against the walls and poured in through broken window panes and doorways. This is where the true architectural drama lies, the slow, geological process of reclaiming space. The sand, acting as both an element of decay and preservation, has filled the homes, preserving objects under the dunes inside the rooms, turning furniture into shadows. The most iconic images of Kolmanskop are the interior dunes. The sand, following the path of least resistance, has created undulating landscapes inside the rooms, rising against the walls and engulfing the floors. The height and shape of these dunes are dictated by the architectural features, windowsills, doorways, and the internal plasterwork. The architectural space, originally designed for human use and movement, is now defined by geological movement and volume. This phenomenon is a profound example of architectural surrender, where the man-made structure has yielded its interior function to natural forces, creating a unique and disturbing aesthetic. Kolmanskop's architecture is a study in jarring contrast. The smooth, flowing lines of the Art Nouveau elements, ornate staircases, detailed cornices, and elegant tiles, are juxtaposed with the harsh, geometric lines of the shifting sand dunes. The buildings are slowly being dismantled, not by violence, but by exfoliation. The sand blasts the outer layers of paint and plaster, exposing the rough, imported brickwork beneath. This juxtaposition creates a powerful visual narrative about the transience of colonial power and the eternal permanence of the desert environment that was built to be forbidden. Paradoxically, the town's location within the restricted Sperrgebiet zone, which was tightly controlled by the mining company, ensured its relative preservation. While other abandoned sites are quickly dismantled for scrap, Kolmanskop remained almost entirely untouched by looters for decades. This isolation, enforced by the strict prohibition of access to the area, preserved the architectural ruins and the internal contents, turning the entire town into a frozen architectural moment from the 1940s. Certain architectural elements proved surprisingly resilient. The thick exterior walls and robust foundation structures have generally remained sound, which is why the town still stands today. It is the lightweight internal fittings, doors, windows, plaster, and roof sheeting that succumbed first. The strong, dry air preserved many of the wooden structural elements, but the desert light bleached the paint and textiles, creating the muted, ghostly appearance that defines Kolmanskop's vanished grandeur. The ballroom and concert hall is perhaps the most famous structure.
Designed for European high society, it now stands as an empty shell, its ornate ceilings damaged by moisture and wind, and its dance floor consumed by sand. This building, intended for celebration and culture, now serves as the most powerful architectural symbol of the town's abrupt halt. The silence in the ballroom, once filled with European waltzes, underscores the sense of architectural abandonment and the finality of the economic proscription. Today, Kolmanskop has found a third function: architectural tourism. The mining company, recognizing its unique historical value, now manages the site as a tourist attraction. This new function involves the architectural challenge of controlled decay, maintaining the structures just enough to prevent total collapse while allowing the sand to continue its natural process of invasion. This delicate balance ensures that the essence of the ghost town remains intact, allowing modern visitors to witness the literal reclamation of architecture by the natural world. The striking, photogenic nature of Kolmanskop has made it a favorite location for filmmakers, photographers, and artists. Its appearance in cinema and advertising has further cemented its image as the quintessential architectural ghost town, a visual representation of the finality of boom and bust cycles. This popular culture recognition ensures that while the town's economic life is forbidden, its visual and architectural legacy is preserved and broadcast globally. Kolmanskop is a monumental architectural parable. It was a defiant act of German engineering and opulence, built against the dictates of nature, driven solely by the irrational wealth of diamonds. Its demise was not a single, sharp event, but a slow, inevitable surrender to economic prescription and environmental forces. The town stands as a testament to the hubris of colonial architecture and the profound, patient power of the Namib Desert to reclaim space, leaving the houses filled not with memories, but with sand. The silent architecture of Kolmanskop offers a vital lesson in transience. The town was designed for permanence, yet lasted only half a century. Its rapid abandonment and gradual, natural destruction highlight the deep connection between architecture and economic viability. When the financial justification for its maintenance vanished, the town was instantly deemed forbidden to occupy, leading to its current state of beautiful, sand-filled decay. The vanished grandeur is palpable in every room, where the floor is now a dune. Kolmanskop is the perfect example of architecture in conflict with the elemental world. The imported European structures were ultimately powerless against the forces of wind and sand, which continue their slow, gentle demolition. The preservation of the town today is a conscious effort to display this conflict, turning the ruins into a magnificent, permanent exhibition of architectural defeat. It is a chilling reminder that nature's claim is always the final one. Kolmanskop, an architectural jewel box swallowed by the desert, is a profound study in the finality of nature's claim. If you were captivated by this eerie tale of architectural surrender and geological reclamation, be sure to subscribe to Vanished Grandeur and share your thoughts on whether the sand should be cleared or allowed to complete its process. Our next episode delves back into political prescription in the USSR, Palace of the Soviets in Moscow, unrealized Stalinist gigantism. We will examine the colossal architectural project designed to be the tallest in the world, the controversial destruction of a major cathedral to make room for it, and why this ultimate Stalinist masterpiece was never built. What other great unbuilt architectural dreams should we explore? Let us know in the comments.